After designing logos for the past 8 years, I have now come up with 5 mind-blowing tips to help you in your own logo design process. Hello everyone, my name is Megan Weeks. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I post every Wednesday and Sunday, and I love to talk to you guys about graphic design, show behind the scenes of what it's like to run a graphic design business, and share with you all the tips I'm learning in this industry and when I work with clients. So I'm so happy you're here. Welcome. I do have my wine right over here. Now I hope you guys grabbed your favorite beverage because I'm gonna dive into 5 tips that you must know when it comes to designing logos. Number 1, if you've ever seen a logo that has an element involved in it, maybe some sort of animal, some sort of character, some sort of shape or drawing, and you're wondering if all these designers are doing it hand-drawn, well, I'm going to share with you a little secret on how to make sure your drawings and your elements look really clean and really professional. Although lots of designers do hand draw these and are illustrators, there are quite a few ways to kind of go around this and to help you get on a right path of creating these custom hand-drawn elements. So the first thing you're going to want to make sure of is on your iPad, you get the app Procreate. I believe it's around $30 one-time payment, so it's really worth it. But once you have that Procreate app, you're going to be able to pull in any image from anywhere. It can be Google, it can be a real life image of an animal, it can be a real plant, it can be anything you find online. You're going to want to pull that into your Procreate app. Once you have that in the app, you can use any pen that you feel most comfortable with. I sometimes switch between the studio pen or a pencil to kind of sketch and get that paper-like feeling, but you're gonna wanna create a new layer and just trace that image on top of it. To make it unique and 100% your own, you're gonna wanna change the shapes, maybe the lines a little bit, just add a little touch to make it your own. Doing this, you will have a beautiful hand-drawn illustration of whatever it is you're trying to create. I do recommend having little touches on there, maybe making the lines more straight or more curved, just to make it look really unique to the client or yourself. Once you have that drawing done, you can share it to your computer, put it in Adobe Illustrator, and image trace the illustration. I like to image trace it using black and white logo. Since it is a sketch, I haven't really colored it in yet, so we can do that and get really straight lines by vectorizing it through the image trace. There you go. There's a really perfect, beautiful element that you created on your own. The next tip is to really take your time on finding the fonts and the typography that you're going to be using in the logo. There's quite a few places to find free fonts, and there's also quite a few places to buy the fonts. Most of the time, you always have to buy the font, so make sure that you're checking the licenses. However, you may be wondering, where do I even search? Where do I look for these fonts? My clients sent me maybe like 3 websites of client logos they like or the branding that they like. Well, I'm going to share with you a few different websites and secrets that'll help you find the fonts that will match the branding perfectly. First thing is actually a Google extension, and this one is called What the Font. You can add that to your Google. It'll be a little extension up top, and you can click on that extension and hover over any text on any website, and it'll tell you what that font is. It's really helpful because many times my clients do point out a brand that they like the look of, and I can go to that brand and specifically see what fonts they're using. Not only that, but if I do my own research and my own strategy and search for competitors in their area, I can see and get inspiration from other websites or other areas that maybe have fonts that I love the look of. This helps with anything, not just logo designs. There's actually a few websites you can also look for free fonts if that's something you're interested in. So I will leave these linked down below, but the first one is DaFont Free. There's also DaFont, there's also DFonts, and there's Google Fonts, of course, Adobe Fonts. But there's lots of websites that have fonts where you can demo them out for free before purchasing, which is so helpful as graphic designers because a lot of times we want to try the font before buying a million of them. If you're anything like me, I go through lots of fonts before I decide on the one I really want to use. And you always want to make sure that you're checking, like I said, the licenses of the fonts, because most of the time you do need to purchase desktop license, web license, and if you're using it on multiple different websites, you will have to buy a different license for that as well. So you're gonna want to make sure you read about that and check in on that before you use the font for good. So if you've drawn an icon, or maybe you've illustrated a logo, or you've put something together and you want to check and see if this has ever been done before, or if it looks completely original to you and your business or your client's business, you can actually go and use Google Image Reverse Search. A really cool tool where you can actually just upload download the image that you created and it'll tell you if there's any images similar to that. It's so helpful if you just want to have that cross-check and make sure that this is completely original and something that was made just by you. My last tip is where to look for inspiration. Now this is the part of the project where you might be a little confused because you want to get inspiration, but you also don't want to get overwhelmed and maybe lose sight of your own ideas and your own imagination. So this is where I would tread lightly, but if you do want to look for inspiration, there's quite a few websites that can help you get on the right foot, because I think most of the time all designers are looking at some sort of inspiration, whether it's in the design industry or not. So I will share with you guys the ways I like to get inspiration outside of the design industry, as well as some websites within it. So if I'm looking for inspiration outside of the industry, I like to actually watch TV shows and movies. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but there's so many amazing directors, there's so many TV shows with lots of art involved in it. So if you watch those, just have that perspective of listening and watching how they're telling the story through art. That actually will really help you, and it kind of practices our creative brain and allows us to see things a little bit differently. Now, if you want to see logos that have been done before, there's a few websites I like to go to when it comes to my inspiration phase. The first website is Behance. You've probably heard about it before. Tons of designers on there, tons of amazing artists on there, and if you do some searches, you can find some really, really great inspiration. Another website is actually called designinspiration.com. These linked down below as well so you guys can check them out, but designinspiration.com also has some really great art on there and logos that have been done by really creative people. Of course, the one place I always like to go is Pinterest. But I will say tread lightly because there's so many designers on there and there's so much information coming at you so quickly that I often find that I get a little overwhelmed and I feel like it's too much all at once and I lose sight of what I really want to create. But there's also often times where I look on Pinterest and I get ideas because of seeing something else. So it kind of just practices that creative part of your brain as well. Those are some websites you can check out and take a look at. They do really help and I recommend looking at them. If you're interested in learning more about logo designs, I do have a freebie that I'm offering for a short period of time. It is linked right down below, and I created this and it goes over 5 different types of logo designs that you can create or that exist out there. This actually helps you when communicating with the client or figuring out which route you're going to take for the client's logo. It goes over 5 different types of logos you can create, as well as what message it conveys and the feeling it conveys with examples. So if you want some inspiration right at your fingertips, I do have that guide down below. Definitely get your hands on it while it's here. A little helpful checklist of logos that you can potentially create for you or your clients. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I know this one was short and sweet. Hope you guys had a great start to the month. Let me know in the comments if this video was helpful to you. Let me know any of your logo design tips. I'd love to hear them. Definitely get your hands on that freebie while it's here. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.